Hello, Happy New Year if you're watching this on day of release. If you're watching this a year later, you'll be really confused. But today is the 5th of January. I'm just going to apologise first of all for the lack of videos. December was really busy for us at HaloPSA. If you're not aware, I'm going to self-promote very quickly. I am actually a Halo third-party consultant. We do this all day, every day. We're working with a lot of customers around the world at the minute, basically building Halo for them, doing automations and all things Halo. With that out of the way, I'm going to very messily probably build a ticket workflow with you today. I don't script these videos, these are very much off the cuff because I don't have the time. Now, unfortunately, today I've been doing this for 3 hours now, and I've done this 3 times. I have discovered 2 bugs and I have made many mistakes. So I have a rough idea what we're going to do, but let's go through and build this together. So we're talking about ticket workflows. What are ticket workflows? What do they do? Well, ticket workflows are basically how you get from point A to point B in a ticket, which could be open to closed, it could be open doing stuff to closed, or as we're going to do today, apply some automations and let the ticket do some of these things for you. So first things first is I'm going to click configuration. This is just literally underneath my head, this side, down here somewhere, just underneath my head. And I'm going to do configuration, tickets, and workflows. I'm going to make a new workflow and I am just going to close this page off very quickly. We're going to give this workflow a name. And as you can see, this is the stuff from before, from my last 100 attempts. And we're going to call this a completely different name. I'm going to call this workflow name Connor's YouTube video workflow. We're then going to give it a few stages. So I'm going to call stage 1, I'm going to call this YouTube triage. Stage 2, I'm going to call this assign the ticket. That's what I did before. It's coming back to me slowly. Stage 3 is going to be do something on the ticket. And then stage 4 is going to be closed. So these stages are basically what appear on the ticket. It's like a visual indication bar of where you are in the ticket. And I'll show you in a few minutes where they appear. We're just going to save that first of all. And it's going to take us back to this first page. So we've named it and we've given it a few stages. What I like to do before getting started with any workflow is basically just replicate my stages to my steps. So at stage 1, we have step 1. At step 2, we have stage 2, which is going to be called assign the ticket. Step 3 is going to be stage 3, which is do something. And step 4 is going to be closed. So you can actually use end here, but I like to have it as a visual indication that I'm at the closed stage of the ticket. And we're going to click save. So we've now got a workflow. It's not going to do anything. None of these steps are linked together. There's no actions on the ticket. But let's just test and make sure we can get a ticket to actually assign to this workflow. How do we do that? We're going to go to ticket types and we're going to make a new ticket type. This is for testing purposes, of course. And we're going to call this Connor's Test YouTube Ticket. And we're going to do a few things here. We're going to go to the defaults tab. And we're going to say the initial status for any ticket created with this is new. And it's going to start a workflow. We're obviously going to start the Connor's YouTube video workflow. And we're just going to assign this to the first line support team. I then want to add a few fields to this. So when we make the ticket, we have to do something on it. And I'm going to basically give it a summary and a description. No, details is what I want. Summary and details, and click save. Then we're going to make a new ticket and just make sure all this works. So we're going to go new ticket. We're going to go William. We're going to go Connor Test YouTube Ticket. And as you can see, we have the 2 fields, summary and details. Summary test. Details test. And click submit. What we should notice now is that this starts in this workflow, and we can tell because we have workflow visuals turned on. So you can see we added the 4 stages, YouTube triage, assign the ticket, do something, and then stage 4, which is close ticket. Now, as you can see, there's no actions at the top because we've defined no actions yet. If you don't see this, by the way, on your instance, if you don't see these stages, you need to go to configuration in the bottom left. Go to tickets, general settings, and then just scroll down. It's about halfway down the page. And then you basically need to ensure you have enabled workflow progress visual and basically show the workflow stages. You may notice in your instance that you have the workflow name down here. I actually hide it in my sandbox. But that is the start of this workflow. So the first thing to think about is, what do we want to happen at this first stage? Well, in this case, I'm going to do something. I'm going to go down to configuration, custom objects, custom fields, and I'm going to go to the second page and click new. And I'm going to basically add a YouTube option. Okay. And this is actually going to be the YouTube custom field. And I'm going to add 2 default values. I'm going to make it single selection, so you have to pick from 2 things. And I'm going to do something funny because I find this funny, not because you will. I'm going to say you have to either like, subscribe, or comment. So 3 options on this ticket. Like, subscribe, or comment. Brilliant. I'm getting good at this YouTube thing. I think so. You probably hate it. So what's that done? Nothing so far. We've made a custom field. It is single selection. You have to either pick from like, comment, or subscribe. We're then going to make an action so that we have a button to press. And we're going to say on that action, show this custom field. So we're going to go to actions. We're going to do new. And we're going to say this is YouTube action. Again, this button name can be anything. It's completely up to you. But the most important thing, in my opinion, is that we pick a good icon. And I'm going to pick the YouTube play icon. I'm then going to add some fields to this. And I'm just going to add the custom field YouTube action. And click save. So basically, when you press this button, it will show you the custom field, which is YouTube action. Then you can pick from that list and click save. We're then going to go to our workflow. We're then going to go to edit. We're going to click add. And we're going to basically say, I want to go to the actions pane. And I want to add an action here. And I want to allow the action YouTube action. And I want to click save. What that's done now in our workflow, and you'll see it appear, is we now have YouTube action. This might not load. Oh, it had loaded. YouTube action, and we can now pick like, subscribe, or comment. It's going to delete this ticket, and we'll do some more workflow building. I recommend deleting the ticket whenever you update or change the workflow. It can bug out sometimes and break, especially if you're adding in links and steps. So make sure that you're not doing loads of changes on live tickets. You can add in actions on live tickets and it should be fine, but just be conscious of that one really. So I'm going to say that when you select or when you do the action YouTube action, I want to then move it. So you'll see under the action here we have move to step, and I want to say we then move it to the assign the ticket stage. At the assign the ticket stage, I want to do the same thing. So click on the little pencil in the top right, click add, and I want to allow the action. I think I have one called reassign. Yes, I do. Reassign and click save. Then, once they've reassigned the ticket, it then wants to move to the do something stage. So again, I've just gone into that step and said, when you use the action reassign, move it to do something. And then at do something, you can either add a comment to the ticket or you can close the ticket. If you add a comment, you remain at the same step or the same stage. But if you close it, it then wants to move to the step closed, like so. A very basic, very linear workflow to start with, but let's test it all works. So we're going to make a new ticket, and we're going to pick the ticket we just made, which is Connor's test YouTube ticket. Test summary, details test, and click submit. The first option, as we know, will be the YouTube action, where we have to basically pick like, comment, or subscribe. And it's saying here, do you want to log a response? What this means is, do you want to email the customer? I'm going to put no at this stage. We can override that. I'll show you how to do that soon. And now we have an action, like, subscribe, or comment. Now, at the minute, it doesn't matter what we pick here. So I'm just going to pick, you need to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'm going to go ahead and click save. That should then move it to the assign the ticket stage in the workflow. I can then reassign it. And I'm just going to pick William. So assign it to William and do test. It will then move it to the do something stage in the workflow where I can add a comment. I'm doing something, and I can set the status then as in progress and click save. It will then remain at this step or this stage because we've not told it to do anything else. But if we click close, we can then click close, which will move it to the stage closed in the workflow. Now, the reason it's bugged out and has shown all these actions at the top is because I don't have any actions or anything to do at that closure step. So what we need to do is go into our workflow and we can do a few things. We can allow the action reopen request, so reopen the ticket. And there's also a clever function here, which is basically end user update. So if the end user replies to the ticket, what do you want it to do? Well, I want it to remove back to the assign the ticket stage where you have to assign a ticket to someone to then work on it again. I want to go ahead and click save. So we'll prove this stage works in a minute. But what I want to do before we get down this route is I want to apply some automations here. This is the fun bit, right? So I want to say that if you click like, it does something. If you click comment, it does something. Or if you click subscribe, it does something. So let's start by making some actions. And I'm going to make 3 actions. I'm going to put video was liked. Click save. I want to make this an automation. This has to be a quick action, sorry. Make sure you click the quick action button and click save. Don't know what that error message was. Let's ignore it. I'm going to put video has a comment. This is a quick action. And I'm going to say user subscribed. Brilliant. And then we're going to go to the workflow. And I'm going to try and do this as slowly as possible because this gets really complicated. I'm going to add in a step. And I'm going to call this the automation step. It's still stage 1 because we don't want it to move to assigning the ticket stage. And we're just going to click save. And what we're going to say now is actually, instead of moving straight to reassign, I want it to go to the automation step. So I'm going to move this here to the automation step. And now we need to apply an automation. And I'm going to go to the automation step. I'm going to click add and I'm going to click automation. Now, because we've just made those actions quick actions, they will now appear in the list. Video was liked, save. Video has a comment, save. And whatever we call the subscribe one, automation, user has subscribed. Brilliant. And we want to add some conditions in here. So what we want to say is if the custom field YouTube action is selected and they click select, then perform this automation. I'm going to do the same for comment. So YouTube action, comment. And we're going to do the same for YouTube action, YouTube action, comment. Subscribe. Sorry, my bad. Subscribe and save. And there we go. Now, what we basically said there is that when you select one of those values in that custom field, move it to the automation step and apply essentially a dummy automation action. What we then can do is link those things to different steps. So I'm just going to move these over here to tidy this up a little bit, like this. And we're going to do the following. I'm going to add some more steps. I'm going to say video was liked. Move this over here, a bit more room. Video has a comment. And video has a subscription. Or, yeah, makes no sense, but stay with me. Okay, and we need to now link these to the automation. So what we say is, if the video was liked, move it to the step, video was liked. Video has a comment, move it to the step, video has a comment. Video was liked, no, user subscribed, move it to the step, video has a subscription. Move these over a little bit. And then we can say we can now add actions to all of these things, what we want to do. Now, I'm going to be quite simple here, and I'm just going to basically add in the same action for each step, and I'm going to call it comment. Comment, add an action, comment, add another action, comment. After you've added a comment on the ticket, it will then move to assign the ticket. Again, really bad workflow. Please don't use this one. Assign the ticket and assign the ticket. Like so. So let's test it. If I go to service desk and I make a new ticket and I pick the ticket in that workflow, so this ticket here, and do test and click submit. I can then select YouTube action. I can pick the video was liked. This should then apply an automation rule. There we go. Sometimes it can take 10-15 seconds for this automation rule to kick in. Otherwise, you can do an F5, which refreshes it. We can now add a comment. Again, we're not at the assign the ticket stage yet. Brilliant. The video was liked. Okay, this is completely useless, but I'll show you how we can adapt it in a second. We've now added the comment, which has now moved it to the next step, which is assign the ticket. And then we can then work through the simple workflow of assigning the ticket and moving it accordingly. Now, what is the benefit of doing this? Why would you want to do this? Well, in this scenario, I want to let my staff know that there are things they need to do with this ticket now because they've gone to this step. So I'm just going to go back to my automations very quickly, my actions, and I'm just going to do, there we go, YouTube action. Not that one. I'm going to do video was liked. There we go. And I'm going to do a default. Video was liked. And I'm going to say down here, I'm going to add a default note. Please ensure you update spreadsheet for video like count. We don't actually do this, by the way. What we're going to do is video has a comment. We're going to go to default and we're going to say, please ensure you reply to the YouTube comment. We're going to do the same one, which was subscribed. Please send a box of chocolates. I wish that was viable. But the cool thing about this now is that if we go back and make a new ticket in our workflow, and we do test, we can now triage the ticket as we would. And this time we're going to say someone subscribed and we click save. And that will then apply the automation straight away. And it's now said, please send a box of chocolates. If you wait a few more seconds, that button should appear. There we go. And then we can add a comment, which is William, please send box of chocolates using company credit card. And we're going to assign this to in progress and click save. Again, a very pointless workflow, right? But you see how you can slowly start building up the automation of this and adding in things at different stages, different steps to take work away from you. You can even get more granular with this. So we could then change the ticket type to subscription tickets. We could change the user by default, the status, the team, and we can handle all of that at the action. So we can say that if the user has subscribed and we invoke this automation or this action, do these things. So we could say, you know, by default, it changes the team or the agent. It adds the default note. It can do pretty much anything you want at this stage, to be honest. It's quite exciting, to be fair. You can add to-do lists from this. You could even spin it off into a new workflow. So that's all I'm going to do for today, because that's obviously quite a lot. And something that is quite nice is you can also add in knowledge base articles as well. So that'll appear on a separate tab, which is quite cool. But there's all sorts you can do with this one. This is just basically, dipping the toes in the water, if you will, getting your feet wet. And that is it. So basically what we've done is we've made a 4-stage over here, 4-stage workflow, but with multiple steps. Stage 1 is you have to pick an option from a custom field, and depending on what you pick will then dictate where that goes in the workflow. You then have to do custom things at that step before it will move the stage in the workflow. I hope this has been helpful. I realize this workflow isn't particularly helpful, but again, it's hard to show you what you need because every MSP is different, every customer is different. I've been Connor. I hope you have a lovely year ahead of you. And again, if you are watching this at the end of the year, I hope you've had a good year. I've been Connor. If you want to reach out to me, my email will be in the comments or the video description below. I will try and not plug as much in the future, but this was quite fun. Again, take care. I wish you the best. Speak to you all soon. Bye-bye.